Hey, today's video we're going to talk about Google remarketing or Google Ads remarketing and if it still works. The answer to that question, of course, if it works, i.e. does Google ad remarketing advertising still work? Is yes, but of course if you do it right, and that's kind of the crux of all PPC. If you watch my channel, you would know that. You can do the same exact traffic source or strategy as another person on Google, on Facebook, or whatever. One person does it one way, you do it the other way, you'll have completely different results. The difference, or what actually determines if you're going to make money with something, is how you basically do it. And this Google Display Network ads or banner ads that you run on Google Display Network is no different. But I'm going to actually tell you what the method is to get the Google Display Network ads, specifically remarketing ads, to work right so that they are profitable after all your expenses, not just the ad spend, but your product or service costs and your general overhead, that gets them to basically work every time. There's a proven method that I use for our clients to guarantee the results at our guaranteed PPC firm, and I'm going to tell you what that is. So it isn't a mystery anymore how to get it to work if you were wondering about whether it works or not. Most people who try Google Display Network and remarketing ads thereof usually don't get it to work. I would say 90+% of people who try remarketing ads on Google Display Network don't get it to work. And it's because they're not doing these key things here that they need, and have these key concepts that they need to know in order to get it to work. So I will go through what those methods are, give you examples of real clients where we've done this on, and what kind of results you can basically expect, which is, if you're doing it right, you can get 5 to 10 to 1 return on your ad money running Google Display Network ads, despite what a lot of people might tell you or you've experienced before with your Google Display Network remarketing ads. So anyway, let's get right into the content. People have for a long time thought Google remarketing doesn't work because they haven't really done it right, as I just indicated on this video. Because the reason why they haven't done it right, and what that key thing that determines if it's done right or not, is that it's based upon this one thing. You can't come to Google Display Network and specifically remarketing with a boring ad and expect it to just pay for itself and all the other product or service expenses you have to deliver on, to where most people need at least, let's say a 3 to 1 return on their ad money, $3 of revenue to every dollar that they're spending on ads in order for it to be profitable so they can keep doing it. And with that, a boring ad that just says what your product or service does generally isn't going to cut the mustard, okay? Just to tell you up front. Not unless, of course, you have something that's really groundbreaking, something that's new, hot, people can't get, and they want it. If you can just, if you fall into that category, maybe you could just say, hey, we have this in stock and it'll sell out. Or you sell something that's already just generally in demand, designer clothing that everybody already wants and there's short supply on, that kind of thing. But 98% of you guys that are watching this don't have something like that. And so you got to get more creative in what you're doing if you're going to expect to get it to work. And you could just say, oh, well, screw it, I don't want it to work, I'll just run Google search ads. If you don't run as a small side to Google remarketing and remarketing through Google Display Network specifically, you will not get nearly as much results running Google search ads on Google, which is the reason why you always want to do Google remarketing on the Google Display Network. Having ads show up for somebody that you paid $1, $2, $5, $10 a click to get to your site, and then doing no follow-up banner advertising for that person, which it literally costs a penny to have an ad show up for somebody after they've been to your site already. You're not going to get the full bang for your buck out of the traffic that you're driving into your site right now, or that you're driving into your site from other places, whether it's TV ads, whatever. This helps make all those other traffic sources you're using to drive traffic into your site, that you pay big money to get traffic to your site, to pay off. It in itself can be a revenue source of people seeing your remarketing ads and then buying directly from them. That's also a benefit you get from running these display network ads on Google Display Network. But it's also the increase of the likelihood that traffic that you drive into your site already is to be profitable and just more profitable than it is already. So with all that said, you generally speaking want to always do Google display remarketing no matter what, as it's going to get your other advertising to pay off essentially. And I'm going to be spending 5 to 10% of my ad budget at minimum of our clients' ad budgets every single time, no matter basically what they're selling, unless they have to. The only time would be that they wouldn't use Google Display Network remarketing where it's not paying for itself is if somebody either has to buy right away or they're not going to buy at all. Their basement's flooded. If you have a basement flooding service that takes care of that, I'm not going to run remarketing ads for that, because either you're going to call about that now or you're not going to call at all. Because it's an emergency or a broken toilet. You're not going to call probably 2 weeks from now about a broken toilet that you want to get fixed. If it's like shooting water out of the toilet or whatever. You get my general idea. Emergency type work would be a major example of that. But for everything else, you're losing money, literally speaking, by not running these Google Display Network ads. And you can do remarketing, of course, on Facebook, TikTok, these other places, but you're not going to get the coverage that you're going to get with remarketing on Google Display Network, because Google Display Network gets you on millions and millions of websites out there. Far greater coverage or ability to get in front of people who've been to your site than any other ad network or ad opportunity out there on the web. Google Display Network gets you on tens of millions of websites. Basically speaking, if people get to your site, they will see your ad or see your remarketing ads or ads at some point in the near future, in the next few days after they left the page, which is typical. You typically are going to run your ads for up to 6 months after somebody leaves, depending on how big of a decision it is that people are making to buy your product or service. So Google Display Network ads, therefore, is always going to have it'll offer you an additional bit of profit in your business by running those to make all the other traffic you drive into your site more profitable, because people are going to be able to see what you have to put in front of them after they leave their site basically every time. But going back to to get it to work and pay off the way that we're getting it to work every time, you can't have just a boring ad. You can't say, hey, we sell t-shirts, come back to buy the t-shirts. And that's basically what everybody else is doing it, and also particularly saying it doesn't work. Obviously, people don't put themselves in the consumer's shoes. If you've been to a site looking at a new car, you don't want to see an ad that asks you to buy that car over and over again. It's annoying. People hate this. This is why people hate web advertising in general, because they don't put any thought into the advertising. It doesn't actually help the user make a decision or find something different. You just keep pounding them with the message over and over and over and over again, and they get so pissed when people are doing that. You don't have to do this. This is just simply laziness in terms of the people who hire these, we'll just say, stupid ass ad agencies they're really not so stupid. They just fooled their clients into taking all their money and not really doing much work, but not putting any creativity in their banner ads that are supposed to show up for people after they left their site so they actually would work. It just looks like it's working to the client, who the client doesn't know any better. So basically, money's going into a burn pit. It's being burned up by sending an ad message to somebody who's been to these people's websites that just say buy the product or buy the service over and over again, and does nothing but piss the user off. It's not hard to be creative to where the user actually likes and appreciates that they saw your ad, and then therefore acts on it and buys, and you actually make money. Because everybody's doing such a shitty job with this, for you to stand out takes very little work. I have plenty of examples here how you can use a different message that actually will stand out for the user and that they'll actually give a shit about, and therefore you'll make money with. But the key thing, it boils down to two things every time. People, when they see your ad, they have to say, why me? Why am I seeing this ad specifically? Of course, just because I've been on your website and I was looking at your product doesn't concern me enough by you saying, hey, you should come back and buy this. By default anyway, or just saying, we have blue shoes for sale, and just because I was on looking for blue shoes, it's not enough of a reason in and itself to get me inspired to act on it at a high enough rate that's going to be profitable at least, because ultimately your click-through rate on your ad dictates your ROI of your campaign. And if you have a low click-through rate because you have an appealing message for the user, you're less and less likely to make money. But they got to say, why should I click on this ad? Why me specifically versus everybody else? And why now? That's the more important thing, is the why now. Why should I click on this right now versus tomorrow? Why do now what I can delay tomorrow or next time I see this ad? So to give you an example of this, of how you actually do this the wrong way versus the right way, I put two beautiful looking ads here for you guys to look at here. This is for an example for a clothing brand, okay? And this, I've worked with several clothing brands, so this is coming from real world experience. If you were to run remarketing ads for somebody who gets to your clothing brand website, so say you're selling women's clothing, and you have an ad that's supposed to show up for anybody who came to your women's clothing site, and it says, buy our dresses. And then that's all it says. And you sell dresses, but you also sell a few other women's clothing. That ad is not going to do jack shit, because there's no specific reason of why me. How do you know I'm still in market for a dress, for one? All you're saying is we have dresses here. Who gives a shit? So does everybody else. And then why now? Well, there is no reason why to come now. I could come back to your site tomorrow easily. And you know, guess what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait till tomorrow, which means tomorrow means never. So that's the wrong way to do it, that 90% of people are doing it, and why most people don't make money with the remarketing ads. The right way to do this, same company, same offer, you could instead say, instead of buy our dresses, you could say summer special, 10% off all dresses this week. Use code SUMMER to get your 10% off your dresses this week. But you have to do it this week because you're not going to get 10% off next week. Therefore, there's a reason to do it now. Not later, but now. Of course, you could delay till tomorrow, technically with that position. But the general idea is, heck, I better do it now because I'll forget to do it tomorrow. And then if I forget to do it tomorrow, I'm not going to be able to do it at all. So therefore, I should do it now. And in addition to this, half of the, what gets the ad to work and gets to where you can be in position to say why them and why at that exact time is to narrow the targeting. The more you narrow the targeting, the more enticing your message can get. So instead of just targeting everybody who's been to the our clothing site, you target people who just been to a dress-related product. So ultimately, people who just was looking at dresses can see an ad about dresses, so that because now we know about what they're looking for. Ultimately, which makes the message more relevant. The more, like I was saying before, the more targeted your targeting gets, if you will, the more you narrow your remarketing down to specific users, the more that your ad is going to get responded to, therefore the higher the ROI is going to go. So your goal, if you if you have multiple things, categories of things that you sell, it should be to narrow down that targeting and make a remarketing audience for specific products or specific services that you offer, so that your message also always says why them, because they were looking at that exact thing. And then on top of that, you of course got to say, why them, but why specifically right now? Throwing them a bone and offering them something that they didn't have before or didn't know they had before. You're giving them a new offer. So they came to the site because you offered dresses, but they're going to come back to your site because you're offering some dresses plus something else. And that plus something else is what actually is the difference between whether the campaign works and it's profitable or it's not profitable. All right? So, of course, you could take, by the way, this to the next level. You could actually, and I do this often with our non-remarketing Google display campaigns, targeting, doing prospecting with Google Display Network ads, targeting people who've not been to our site before, where we'll target, based upon the narrowing of the targeting we could target everybody 55 plus. Then we could say on our ad, in that case, we could say anybody, narrow down our remarketing to people who, have a list that just picks up whether somebody was looking at a dress on our site specifically. But on top of that, our campaign can target anybody 55 plus in the age demographic of 55 plus, which is possible with Google Display Network ads. And then on our ads say 55 plus special dress, 15% off all dresses for 55 plus age category. And you can go that general direction with it. And or if you want to remarket to people who've already been a customer already, you could say 10% off all dresses this week for current customers only. And then with that, of course you create a remarketing list for anybody who's been on a dress site, but also has made at least one purchase in the past. Or you've uploaded your customer list to Google and you combine that targeting option plus somebody who's been on a dress page in the last 30 days. And so the more targeted you get, the better the ad's going to basically work. And there's a threshold in which you become so targeted and the message so enticing that the campaign works. And for every business, based upon how dry what you sell naturally is, it'll work basically at some point. So you'll have to decide how targeted you have to get with your advertising. So it's not just targeting everybody, but do I target someone who's looking at just this thing and it has this trait, made this purchase before, whatever it is, and then you have to give them something in addition that they never seen or did before, or never thought or seen that they could get before, basically. So anyway, the major thing that you're going to do with, at least if you're a person who expects somebody to click on this ad as soon as they see it and then buy, so that your tracking in your Google Ads account shows that you got a 3-to-1 or a 4-to-1 or a 5-to-1 return on your money from these remarketing ads, your typical approach is going to, at least for a product company or e-commerce, or just selling products in general, is going to be offer a discount. Because the discount, specifically a time-limited discount, is going to get that person to respond right away. It's the number one way that we have to do it. But it doesn't have to be your only way to do it. Another thing you could do would be to narrow down your remarketing to people who's been to the shopping cart but hasn't purchased yet. So and then with that, like I was saying before, you can get more specific with your message. You could say, you forget your items in your shopping cart, check out now. But usually with that, to get that to work extremely well, because every single person who's been to your cart is wildly valuable. So in addition to just saying, hey, did you forget your order? And then remarketing to people who've been to the cart but didn't finish their purchase, and that being profitable already, we'll say, did you forget your order? 5% off your order for finishing your purchase right now. And then get even more of a response. But that gives you a general idea in what you can do, that at least for the type of stuff you can say on your ad that'll generate orders now. You can offer them a discount on a time-limited basis. You can mention that they forgot their order in their cart, / offer them a discount for checking out what's in their cart right away. I usually send that person directly back to the cart itself for them to check out if I'm going to do a cart abandonment offer. But that's a second way to have something that's super relevant in terms of messaging on your ad to make the remarketing opportunity and ad campaign that you're running actually be profitable. Another way to do this is to, if we're talking about products here, I'll skip ahead a little bit. You could offer a free sample. So we had specifically with a food subscription company. Okay, it's one thing if you're gonna sell like mail order steaks like on a subscription. So every month you're getting a new bundle of steaks sent out in the mail. It's a big ask to get them to order it for the first time. Why not, as we had talked about with this particular client, we offer a sample. Offer not even a whole entire steak, but they can get a small 4-ounce sample of the steak sent out to them in the mail and putting that in the remarketing. So if somebody came to the site and we didn't have them over the threshold, the mental threshold for them to actually sign up for the subscription service, why don't we give them a free 4-ounce sample of the product, which lot of people would grovel over free sample. Well, I'm not going to offer that. You're going to be a bunch of freeloaders asking for shit. No. The great thing about the remarketing is you could pay, going backwards here, you could pay $4 or $5 bucks, $10 a click for somebody looking for mail order subscription steak companies, specifically searching out what you do. They go to your site, and with that, there's actually a way with Google, through Google Analytics and remarketing, that you could set up a remarketing audience for somebody who, unless they actually came from your Google search campaign, and you can even narrow it down to a specific campaign specifically, or even narrow it down to a specific ad within a campaign. You can have a free sample ad show up for somebody who searched for and showed you that they're already willing to spend money for what you sell. So that when you offer the free sample to these people, these people were all people that were willing to spend money already. They weren't quite at the level where they were willing to sign up for your product, and they actually didn't get quite to the point where they decided to buy anybody's product. So you show up with a sample, and of course they go for it because they were going to buy, but they didn't know quite who to go with yet. And you made it the risk and the amount of effort and money it took to jump into this niche, if you will, so lower than anybody else. They just ultimately go with you. So obviously this doesn't give you an immediate return, but like with all two-step sales processes where you're generating a lead and then your sale comes after, you can measure what your funnel overall produces, i.e., how many people who got a free sample from you ended up turning into a customer. That's not that hard to track. All you got to do is take their, of course, sales information and have a customer tracking system. So when that person comes back, you can compare the person who got the sample to the orders that you have coming through the site anyway. So anyway, as it pertained to the food subscription company I was talking about before that sold meat products, we offered the free sample. And then of the people who came back to buy, it was about 1 in 3 people who came back to buy, which in and itself, because the average length of time that somebody stays a subscriber was right around 10 months, it actually paid off quite well. And naturally as well, if you think about the cost of what it cost to get somebody to the site in the first place from a Google search campaign, we're paying basically $5 a click to get people to the site. And then ultimately what we're paying for an acquisition to get somebody from Google search that already is looking for a meat-related subscription program. And we're paying close to $100 a customer to offer the free sample and getting a sign up for the free sample for around $5, and now getting 1 in 3 of those people to turn into a customer. Yes, we had to pay to get that person to the site in the first place, to actually be in our remarketing list, of people who searched for a meat-related food subscription program, and then so that we could remarket to them all together. We got, in terms of extra remarketing cost to get that person to buy, it was only $15 acquisition cost compared to the $100 acquisition cost it took to get someone to come from the Google search and then buy directly from the Google search. So ultimately, though, it gets people that searched initially or from your Google search campaign to just pay off that much better. Anyway, that's the type of thing that you can do in order to get so-called an immediate return. When you just have to obviously calculate how many people who get the free sample end up buying from us. So 1 in 3, 1 in 5. Then you can value what a free sample purchase actually is worth. And with the free sample, it's easy to get somebody to actually partake in that. You basically, every time you get somebody to buy the sample or get the sample, you got money in the bank that's coming, so you can ultimately kind of put 2 and 2 together. Free sample equals profit, but the free sample is an easy way to get somebody to respond to a banner ad, which just by saying that you offer this food delivery program, the food subscription program by itself is not interesting enough for them to act on the ad. Offering a free sample on a limited basis to try what's in your subscription program for free starting out is a much better way to get someone's attention. So that makes a boring ad into a really exciting ad, an ad that they're happy to have seen, but it's also still profitable for you. So anyway, for a product company, that's another way to do it. You don't have to just discount what you have, or, you know, specifically narrow your traffic down to people who got to the cart and abandoned it and then coming back to them. You could actually offer a free sample of what you have. Ultimately, as a last thing about that before I move on here, I would ultimately look at your customer purchase behavior and see the type of items that when people buy those items, they end up going on to buy a lot of other items. They have a lot of lifetime value when they buy a certain category of items. And once you find that item, that once they buy that item, they usually go on to a lot of repeat purchases. If you're in a business that lends itself to repeat purchases, that's the item that you want to give away a free sample on. Just, you know, get that and just start giving it away. You'll find many times that that's going to be cheaper to acquire customers by giving that product away, in terms of as long as you can be smart about it and value the customer for what the lifetime value is going to be versus what they're going to ultimately do on the very next purchase, then it is going to be trying to get them, acquiring them through Google search or whatever, for other items that don't lend itself to as much lifetime value, if you will. So it's another way to think about doing things. But anyway, that's a great way to run a remarketing ad it'll be very profitable for you basically right away as soon as it's up. As soon as you have a free sample ad up, that week you're already going to have a whole bunch of people getting the samples. Of course, you're maybe not going to know what the value of somebody who gets the sample is until you've ran it for a while, but respectively, from the time someone sees a sample ad, they pretty much act on it right away, like they will with a discount. When they see a discount ad, they'll buy right away. Anyway, for you guys not doing product sales though, I'll give you several examples here of what to put on a remarketing ad that will get profit in your pocket from running these remarketing ads right away, in terms of messaging that you want to, or offers you want to put on the remarketing ads. One of which would be a cheapest rate guarantee. We had a client who is in the mortgage brokering business. They sell house mortgages basically. And the main thing, and this is something you got to do for your own business, you got to kind of figure out what it is that people want most of all in your market or care the most about. In this market, of course, they want a low rate on their mortgage if they're going to refinance their mortgage. So what people don't want to do is they don't want to contact 15,000 people to find out the lowest rate. So we figured out that we could offer a free Outback Steakhouse gift card for somebody if they found out that they could get a lower rate somewhere else, implying that we have the lowest rate, which we didn't on mortgages, and which we started putting in our Google search ads then, guaranteed lowest rate, or get a steakhouse, Outback Steakhouse gift card, and it worked extremely well. It killed it. But then along with that, because that message was so effective already, we could put that in our remarketing ads and get more out of our ad on top of it, so that people who came in from other sources to our site, we could offer that pitch and get a whole bunch more profit from using that message. And so if they came in from a radio ad, we could have that message show up in a banner ad for them and then get a really good response from the banner ad. Because we're offering them, going back to what I was saying before, something new that they didn't necessarily get before. We're giving them some urgent message that we know that they want, and therefore they're going to respond to right away. Ultimately, if you're in that situation, by the way, and you're worried that people are going to call you on what you have, and like with this guy, he wasn't really the cheapest, most people aren't going to go check for the other prices at a bunch of places. And even if they did, the $20 Outback Steak Outback Steak Steakhouse gift card, it's not going to be as much as what it's going to cost to acquire customers anyway. So like 1 out of 5 or less of the people that came in and they dealt with wanted the gift card because they weren't the lowest. Well, that's basically nothing compared to what it costs to acquire a customer anyway. So you don't have to be the lowest. If you're even in somewhere like the middle to low, it's already good. For the most part, you're not going to have to give almost any gift cards away. And the promise of getting a gift card if you're not the lowest will get so many people to respond to your remarketing ad, it won't matter the very few gift cards you have to give away. And you won't have to give away very many. I will promise you that. Anyway, for a service, again, you could offer a free consultation. We had somebody in the diet space that had a diet program, and with the diet program, basically what they did was they offered a free consultation. So, with that, hey, free consultation from the owner who's in shape, and we'll talk to you about, losing weight or getting into shape or otherwise, whatever your fitness goals are. So if you sell personal training services, you could offer a free consultation. So you may not want to do that necessarily. I can understand that, but just by offering them a 15-minute Zoom consultation, which is what we were doing before, what I'm referring to here, you can actually generate a lot of response off of a remarketing ad when you're driving traffic to your website where you offer personal training services. They see an ad later on that offers them a 15-minute consultation. You'll get a super high response rate on that type of thing because it's useful to people. It's not something they're going to normally see every day. And with that said, if you're a lawyer and everybody's offering free consultations, that doesn't apply. This applies when nobody else is offering a free consultation. When nobody else is and you do, and you put that in your marketing ad, you'll get pretty much a response right away. And like what I was saying before, of the free consultations, you'll find 1 in 3 on that consultation, you can upsell them to the actual service or coming in for the first time. So for 15 minutes of free work, you can get 30% close rate to your personal training services if you're running a personal training business, which that in and itself is a good deal. It's worth your time. You just have to run the math on it. So that's another way to have a message that can get you instant money from a remarketing ad. Another one would be a questionnaire or estimator. So one thing we do a lot here or have done in the past is lead quizzes. So you could there's a software called Lead Quizzes. Basically, you put a questionnaire together. And if you sell, like we had a client who sold hair regrowth or restoration products, okay? And if you're in the space if you're you're balding, you need hair regrowth or whatever, you're searching around online. And for our client, they had a lot of blog material, and they had a remarketing list that they were building up through the content that they had. So, and if they read our blog post content, we knew they had the general problem of having hair loss. So what do? We put together a banner ad offering a simple 60-second questionnaire that will tell them if hair regrowth products are right for them or not, or whether they will work or not, as produced by a hair regrowth doctor or specialist. So for that, they of course, there's a lot of value in that. I'm going to find out from an actual hair regrowth doctor whether these hair regrowth products work or not for someone like me. So then, you send them to a landing page, and then they go through this questionnaire. At the end of the questionnaire, it gives them the answer, and then of course gives them the name of the salesperson, i.e. the doctor/doctor, that they can talk to if they're interested in pursuing the specific, because at the end of the questionnaire it says, based upon your responses, yes, hair regrowth products will work, and specifically like this type of product here, if you're interested in talking to the doctor who basically put together this questionnaire, you can talk to him. Here's this number, you can call. And then of course, in order to get the final answer, you have to plug in your phone number and email, so that generates a lead. And then of course the salesperson can call them and ask them if they're willing, if they're ready and willing to start actually the product that the questionnaire recommended, if you will. So anyway, in that space, it worked extremely well, running Google Display Network remarketing ads to people who've just been on their site reading article content about hair regrowth. And we've done that in a lot of other spaces and supplements and stuff like that. So anyway, you could do a questionnaire to a lead. Lead Quizzes is a software that allows you to run those questionnaires like I'm talking about without having to develop any software yourself. You just plug in there the answers to all the questions, and you just embed that in a landing page, and you can drive people to say, find out if how much muscle you can grow in 90 days with popular muscle growth supplements, and then they'll go through it to find out, because it's the main question people want to know if they're looking at muscle growth supplements. And so in the health space, that really works well. Anyway, that's another example of how you could put something on a remarketing ad that'll get you money right away. Because obviously, you're going back to what I said before, every time someone fills out that questionnaire, it's money, because a certain percentage is going to end up buying. And then so in essence, it's basically instant money, or close enough to instant money. Now, the reason why I put together an instant return of what things you would put on an ad to get a quick return. On the flip side, there's stuff you put on remarketing ads to get an eventual return, but the return's still there, so it's just as good. It's just not as immediate. Whereas these things you can track. Somebody will respond to this right away because there's a strong call to action. You can track it and see what it's costing to get someone to fill out the form, or the ROI of how many people click through and then buy it. These other things here are things that basically subliminally message the user to make sure that they understand that you're the best, but without any actual call to action to ask them to buy directly right then and there, so that eventually when that person decides on their own when to buy, they end up buying from you at a higher rate than they normally would otherwise. And this is the key thing that people normally don't think about, but should do, and is more relevant than the stuff that makes instant money, because there's a lot more stuff you can do, and it'll increase your revenue flow more than the stuff that makes instant money as well. So you could try to focus on these things where you're driving people into back to the site with a discount or with a specific offer that to generate leads that can turn into sales, like I was saying before. Or you can spend money marketing. So if you're offering sales training services and you're trying to get them to believe that yours is the best, you can come to them with testimonials, reviews, and so forth on your banner ads on your Google Display Network banner ads that you're going to run, and get them for every ad basically that they see, they're a little bit more likely to buy. And ultimately, you could think of whether or not somebody buys from you for something like that, like a glass that has to be filled up in terms of certainty. And different people have different needs and different amounts of certainty that they must have before they decide to buy at all in that market. But, and while they're researching, they're going to be looking around for different things. The person who wins the purchase from that user is probably going to be the person who they feel most familiar with, because whoever they are, basically from that, it's going to be the person they've seen the most material from. Because they're going to think the person who they've seen the most material from as the person that seems like the biggest one in the niche. Therefore, that's going to be the one that's most trusted. Therefore, that's the one I want to go with. So whoever wins the purchase from somebody who's, a lot of times on Google search, even though they're looking for sales training services, they're not looking to buy today. They're going to go to your site. They're going to go to your competitor sites. They're going to go read some articles. Ultimately, that time, from the time they initially start doing the research to the time they buy, who wins is going to be the person who basically shows up in front of them the most. And even though you don't have articles written about you everywhere, it doesn't matter. You can artificially create this perception of being the most authoritative provider of that sales training service in your market than anybody else, just strictly through the remarketing. So, ultimately, they see an ad 3-4 times a day for the next 3 months while they're, deciding. Therefore, they think you're the best that day when that day comes, and they can't so-called delay the purchase anymore. You come to mind first, and then therefore you get the purchase. So, the reason why these things, of course, are not popular is because people want to see someone clicking on the ad and buying now. And if they don't buy right now, they say it doesn't work. Which, if that was the only way that remarketing worked, why is it people still do banner or billboards? Of course, billboards have an effect, but people still advertise on billboards even though you can't buy through a billboard immediately. So why is it that people don't run remarketing ads? And even though not everybody doesn't buy from the ad or the message on the ad right away, do people think that it doesn't work? What you ultimately do is you can, before you run remarketing ads, trying to educate the buyer about why you're better, you can simply look at your sales performance of your company. You can then run these type of ads that I'm going to give you examples here to half of your general market. So ultimately, if you're selling to the USA as a whole, you can have these remarketing ads that I'm going to explain here run to the East Coast only for 3 months, and then see how much this is influencing the people that are coming to your site already naturally to buy it and finish the purchase or come back and purchase, versus the half of the country where you didn't do any follow-up with them. And so this is where I was talking about before. Half of the opportunity with Google Display Network remarketing is to get traffic that you drive into your site now from wherever sources it's coming from to actually buy from you at a higher rate. Given 80% of the people roughly that come to your site now aren't going to be ready to buy today. So they may respond today, but actually buy, like where they're actually physically paying you, 80% are not going to be ready to pay today. So if you do this stuff here that I'm mentioning here, the likelihood that they're going to, between the time that they come to your site initially and the time they buy from someone in your market, you're going to end up at being that one they decide to go with at a much higher rate than they would have otherwise. And you can test this, like I said, really easily by running this for half of your geographic territory that you're covering, or of your market that you cover geographically, and just see out of the half of the country that you run these ads, how much more revenue you're getting than the half of the country or whatnot, or half of the city that you're in where you're not running these ads. It's called through a process called conversion lift tracking. And I have a video that I made about conversion lift tracking to test this and test how powerful and profitable this directly is through running these ads for half of the country that you're targeting, or half the city you're targeting, and the other half not running it, so you can see how much it's paying off, because people aren't going to click through these ads right away and buy, or they're not going to click through these ads right away and actually turn into a lead. They're going to see the ad and maybe click on it, maybe not. In either case, it's going to get them a little bit more likely to buy each ad they see. They see these ads 50 times over the next 3 months because it costs a penny every time an ad shows up for them. You spent 50 cents to get them to be 50% more likely to buy. Generally speaking, doing these things, we can double the productivity of any traffic source coming into the site already versus not having any of this going. We know this by running this, having done similar conversion lift tests for our clients that are PPC firms. So anyway, what are these things? As I mentioned before, it's stuff like your testimonials or reviews. You show people that you're trusted in your space, and with that, later on when they eventually buy, they end up more likely buying from you. But to put this into specifics here, your Google remarketing ads, you can do many different things here in order to get them to buy from you at a higher rate when they eventually do buy. One of which is you can run a competitive analysis. We had a mattress company. What we did with the mattress company is we bought all the competitor mattresses, and we had somebody show this mattress versus this mattress, so that if they were considering that other mattress and then we knew we were better than that mattress, then they won't be considered it anymore after they've seen our review of that one mattress versus the other. And then if they've been on our mattress site, we could drive them to 5 different mattress reviews, head-to-head mattress reviews between our mattress and the other mattress, so that of the other mattress that they're thinking about buying, they actually stumble upon that particular ad that drives them to that particular review. And then now they know why they should buy ours. But they don't act on that right away, like I was saying. They see it, and then when it becomes time for them to buy the mattress, they're ready to buy a mattress. We've positioned ourselves to be the one that they buy that particular day or that particular time that they're going to eventually buy. So you could just test your product versus a bunch of other products and from your competitors, and put it into a matrix and show the battery lifespan and the durability and the horsepower. And because most of the time in most markets that I see, nobody's done anything like that. So if the consumer sees an ad like that drives them to information like that, they're going to love that. And of course, if they see that and you have the better product, they're going to be more likely to buy from you when they eventually buy. But that's one major example of what you can do to increase the likelihood of when people eventually buy from your market, that they end up buying from you. Another one is testimonials, both written and video testimonials. Video testimonials are much, much more believable than written testimonials, but you can do both. We have, basically every time we work with the client, we'll have banner ads show up for people after they left the site with citing customer testimonials on them. If we have video testimonials, we'll show a little evidence that we have a video testimonial on our banner ad, and we'll drive them to a YouTube ad that has that video testimonial on it. And then we'll do not just one ad like that, but we'll do several. There'll be like 3 different testimonials that we have featured in each of 3 different ads, which drive them to each to 3 different videos. So that even if the major thing with this is they don't even have to click on your ad to be affected by this. Just by seeing a banner ad that says that you have a video testimonial, and the goal is to make the ad so clear that without clicking on it, they can see that you have a video testimonial from a customer that they don't even have to see it. They don't really care what the video testimonial says. They just care that you have a video testimonial, and it gets them to believe you that much more, or just a little bit more. But when you combine it with 10 other things that I'm talking about here, the likelihood they're going to buy from you is like, double than what it was before they saw these 10 things. So anyway, that's the kind of thing that you can do to increase the likelihood of getting a purchase from all the traffic you're driving into your site right now. Another way that you can do this is through review aggregator score. So your Google average score, review score, what's your score? You have a 4.8 out of 5. Put that into a remarketing ad through Google Display Network so that after they've left your site, they're going to see what your Google review score is. Or you could do your Yelp, or you could do, whatever your industry review source is. And just like with the testimonials, it gets my confidence up just seeing that, wow, you're not just hoping they checked your reviews. You like literally force that they're going to pick up that you are well reviewed, so that when they go to decide who to do business with, which they literally get to some point and they're going to say, shoot, I can't delay my purchase anymore. Who am I going to do business with? The person who's been having these testimonials and reviews and all this show up for a person over the last 2 months that they were trying to decide, you're going to be thought of first, or they're going to be thought of first, and they're going to get the purchase. So whoever does the footwork up to the point that person has to make the decision is the person getting the sale. So you can do that. You can do differentiators. What's different about your product or service? You're offering free shipping? Is customization free? Whatever it is, it's different. It has more horsepower for less cost. Whatever it is, you put that into the display ad. So again, without even having to click on the ad, they can see what your main selling point is, and you make sure that they know it versus hope they knew it from the first visit they came to your site. And with that, by the way, to get the best value out of it, you don't want to just send them back to your product page after they saw that you offer free customization. You want to send them back to, or send them to a blog post that, it could be any page on your site, but I'll take a blog and I'll make a blog about the free customization that we offer and why we offer it. And so if they click on that ad because they were interested in free customization, most people won't click on it, but the few who do, you take them to an article about the free customization. And that's how you build up the maximum amount of credibility from the user base that you've already attracted to your site and get them to buy from you at the highest possible rate you can. Upwards basically of double the rate that they were going to buy from you if you didn't show them any of this stuff. But another way you do this, and doing it through Google Display Network, since Google Display Network, like I said, basically guarantees that people are going to see your ads, your remarketing ads, because they get you on millions of websites, and they're going to be, practically on enough websites. Basically, any website you see with a banner ad on it, you're going to get on it with Google Display Network. You can put your FAQ question and answers on these ads. So, what are the top questions people ask your salespeople? And ask them. Take the 5 top questions that people ask before they buy, make 5 different ads that answer those questions, and then send them back to a blog post that answers the question in detail about, do you have a warranty? And then putting that into the ad. And then sending them to a blog post that talks about the warranty. So that, because the enemy of people purchasing your product or service is obscurity and confusion. So if most people are asking these same questions, you put into your remarketing ads the answers to these questions, and guaranteed you will get more sales then out of the traffic you're driving to your site already, because they're going to be less, confused, therefore they're more likely to buy from you. You can do, and these are some often odds and end ones, but you could do stress testing. For the mattress company I was talking about before, we stress tested the mattress, and then we showed in the ad that we stress tested this mattress to prove how durable it is. But if they clicked on the ad, they could go to a blog post that talked about the whole stress test we did on the mattress. So they now know that it's a durable mattress. So if that was the one thing that they were wondering, like, I want a durable mattress, now they know ours is durable, and just because we had that extra ad show up for them. You could do warranty. If you have a product warranty or guarantee, put that into an ad. Send them to a blog post that talks about that in specific. It'll help you increase the purchase rate of people who overall come to your site, so they come back and buy from you at the highest rate possible. The before and after photos. If you have customers who, and it's a product and they install it, have the customer send you their photos, incentivize them if you need to do it, and then put the before and after in the banner ad. And then send them to a page that has all your customer before and afters. With the best works by having the customer's name and the location under each one. And it really just shows, like, wow, lots of people are doing this, and this is the results I want. Therefore, I'm more confident to buy. And again, they're not going to buy right then. Some will, very few won't. But when they do go to buy from somebody, you're going to be much more likely to have them buy from you, having done that for them. Even though that you may hint to having those before and afters on your product pages already, not everybody's going to digest everything on that product page the first time they come to your site. Having the ads rotate out for the user for the next 2 months while they're deciding, they are going to know all this stuff because you're spoon feeding it to them a little bit at a time, so it's not overwhelming. So you can do that. And then also celebrity or influencer usage. The biggest, most influential thing you can do to influence the people in your market to buy from you once they've been to your site is to have your product reviewed by a famous YouTuber, somebody famous in your space, or it could just be somebody in general that's talked about buying what you have, which I've talked about. Like for instance, we had a hair regrowth product company where some famous YouTuber was talking about how he was planning on getting hair regrowth surgery, and we sent a product to them that had laser lights on it and supposed to help you regrow your hair that way, and just sent the product to them to have them review it. And just even though that's even better actually than a hair regrowth product review specialist, because it doesn't seem, everybody knows that those companies that and people that just specialize in reviewing certain categories of products are more likely to be biased. So anyway, we got that review, and then our remarketing ads can say that we got a review from this famous YouTuber, which if they click on the ad, they can go watch the whole review on YouTube. And so anytime you can borrow star power, which influencers are basically celebrities now, but if you had a celebrity, it would be even like a traditional celebrity, like a star football player, it would be even more so that you have that on your marketing ads. And if your competition doesn't have their stuff reviewed by a star football player, then your stuff's going to seem more trusted and credible and therefore believable. Therefore, they're going to do business with you at a higher rate than at that point in time. So that's another example of how you can get more from the traffic coming in, because the people that came in are going to see these other things that makes them more confident about you versus other people. And then when they go to buy, they're going to buy from you as a result at a higher rate. If you want an excellent example of how all this works, go to my site at guaranteeppc.com and then watch the remarketing ads that show up for you. We do about 20 different remarketing ads that rotate out for the user, and we keep doing it. I do it up to 1.5 years because people are going to want to decide if they need a PPC firm over long periods of time like that. So of course we want to maximize, that's the maximum amount of time you can do remarketing through Google Analytics and through Google Ads, but we take advantage of that, and I put everything that people naturally have questions about when they're going to hire somebody in the ads. Testimonials, reviews, third-party reviews, so on is all the stuff I talked about almost, plus more stuff. And you can kind of see how we do it. But so half of the work that it takes to so-called sell somebody on our PPC services is just done through the remarketing. All I got to do at this point is just get somebody who's interested in a PPC service to come to our site, and then the remarketing does all the rest. Points to the articles I've written, points to our social media channels that prove our authority level as a company. It shows them the testimonials that we have. It shows them our differentiator points. So I don't have to do anything, and therefore, our competition's not doing this. They become more familiar with my firm than any other firm just through the power of the remarketing and what that can do. So anyway, that's under the eventual return category of how to run Google Display remarketing ads to make money. But this is just as or more powerful than the stuff that can get you immediate money that I was talking about up here, where they're going to see the ad and want to act on it right away versus see the ad. And they might click on the ad to get more information about what you're saying, but most of the time they'll see the ad, are influenced by it. You can't see that it's more profitable because it doesn't get them to buy from you right then, but it's going to increase the likelihood that they're going to buy from you later on. That you also want to basically do every single time I'm going to market a company, unless it's an emergency job like I was saying or something like that you only buy instantly or not at all, I'm going to do this other stuff to increase the power of any traffic that we're driving to the site already to get them to buy from us overall at a higher rate than they would have otherwise. Maybe not right away, but eventually over the course of the time, the sales cycle that people normally think about a purchase and then eventually purchase. And then the immediate return stuff, I'm also going to do that as well. But respectively, if you don't, it is an additional way to just profit from the Google Display Network remarketing ad. So anyway, this is a breakdown of how to do Google Display Network remarketing the right way, i.e. the way that actually makes money. So if you're going to do it, you're going to mess with it, do it right. This is because it's going to be worth it. You're going to make a ton of money. But if you just come to do it and you're going to do it like everybody else does it, saying, hey, buy our shirt, hey, buy our shirt, hey, buy our shirt, might as well just, it's just not do it. It's not even worth your time. And so ultimately, so with that said, you can, for a penny, you can have an ad show up for somebody who you paid however much money to get them to your site in the first place, and which may be super, super qualified. And if you get the sale, they're going to be worth so much money to you in the future. It makes no sense not to do this and pay the little bit of money that it costs to get your ad in front of them again a few more times or a few more dozen times, because it's literally so cheap to get it in front of them, get the ads in front of them more than 10 plus times that that's where you're going to capitalize more on having your ad show up more versus less times. And if the messaging that you have is you have enough variety in there where you have like I do 20 different messages that rotate out for the user, you don't have to worry about them really getting tired of your ads, because there's all these different things that they need to know about making a decision, not just from you but other people in this space, that they're basically not going to remember the first ad they seen once they've seen all 20 other ads, and it's just always going to seem relevant and interesting to them. So that should really be your goal, is to have enough ads rotating out for the user that they don't even remember all the ads they've seen. That's where you're going to get the maximum level of effect and lift on the amount of people that are going to buy from you using Google remarketing. And so anyway, I'll wrap it up with that. That's how you get Google ad remarketing to work specifically, and how and where it doesn't work and not worth your time and money actually doing. If you liked the video, I'd appreciate it if you would give it a like and consider subscribing to this channel, as I have a ton of other videos on this channel about other money-making PPC strategies that are going to make you effective and are going to make you a lot of money, because I run a PPC agency here and manage a few dozen clients, and all the stuff that we test that makes money, I'm giving it to you straight to you direct, so you can make money doing the same thing for your own companies. And it's information that, frankly, we charge money for on a regular basis, but give it to you here on this channel for free. We also give you what doesn't work. So if I stumble across something that doesn't work, we give you that as well. So basically, before having to test anything out for yourself, you could come to this channel, get the working stuff that does actually work, and just focus on that and make a heck of a lot of money doing it. It's the best information that you're going to find on YouTube as far as PPC money-making strategy out there. The rest of everybody else is going to offer information on how to set up a basic campaign this gives you the information on how to make money and what makes money today. So therefore subscribe. Beyond that, if you have any questions about anything I covered today about Google ad, display remarketing, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel, usually within a couple days' time. I, by the way, also have a blog at guaranteeppc.com/blog where I've written a lot of articles about different campaigns and setups for different PPC campaigns that make money that we use for our clients to make them money on their PPC accounts, and which we have to guarantee results for our clients. So if you're looking for more detailed setups on how to set up campaigns versus the stuff that we do on this channel where it's basically high-level information that we're giving to you here, you can find great supplementary information there on my blog, on our agency site at guaranteeppc.com. Beyond that, I do have one more program I wanted to mention that I came out with recently, which is we offer PPC campaign templates here at our agency. So we have offered PPC services, PPC management services for almost 9 years now at our agency. And what we started to recently do is offer campaign templates. In that, we've worked with enough companies now and we've had multi-million-dollar a year sales success with so many markets now that if you're not looking to work with a PPC agency and you want to actually just set up a new business and have a campaign template that will copy paste work in that exact market and in that exact business you want to start up in, we can give you the campaign template. And because we already have ran that campaign in that market for years already and gotten the results we've gotten, you already know with the templates we give you for that market what you can earn from it already. So we've had people use campaign templates that we've sold here for, like a foundation repair company. People will, in that geographic market that does not compete with a client in a different market that we're working with, they'll outsource the work to a third party in that city or state that they're in, keep 10% of the revenue for themselves, and have an automated business going for themselves. Or use a product campaign and source the products from China and sell products in that country, whereas in another country, it would be where our other client is selling a similar product in which you could have a turnkey business for yourself there. Also, we might already have the campaign template and the results already that you're looking for in your exact market, which if we had that, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to and need to and want to get the campaign templates for yourself, given it would be much easier and just profitable in general to get what we're using that's already making money in your market and use it for yourself. But there's only one way to know if we have the results in your market or not, which is to contact us. And we'll let you know what we have as far as results and what markets and how much results we have and can get you in those markets as well if you were to use our campaign templates that are already, we spent years building up the results in those certain markets. So anyway, if you're interested in that, reach out to my firm as well at Guarantee PPC and guaranteeppc.com. I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hope to see you in my next video where we have another great strategy for you there. See you later.